All right. So, what you're looking at right now is our model, the one we trained in episode 5, running on live NVDA data, and it just made a decision. No rules, no if statements, no thresholds. We wrote by hand. It's just the model looked at today's data and said buy or skip. And that's what we're building today. So let's jump right in. And just a quick recap, if you're just joining the series here, we've been building this trading bot from scratch across 6 episodes now. Episode 1, we connected to Alpaca and placed our first paper trade. Episode 2 and 3, we built RSI and turned it into real signals. Episode 4, we back tested those signals and everything and saw where it held up. Episode 5, which honestly might be the most important one here, is we trained an XGBoost machine learning model on a full year of NVIDIA data, saved it as a brain, and today we load that model and point it at live market data. This is where it stops being a training exercise and starts being an actual bot. So if you haven't done so already, please like and subscribe to follow along in the series. And if you haven't seen episode 5, I would shoot on over there and go watch episode 5 before you dive into this one. And before we write any code, I want to show you what the full pipeline looks like end to end, because once we're in the code, it's easy to lose track of the bigger picture. So the bot wakes up, the market opens, it pulls the latest NVIDIA price data, same as we've been doing since episode 2, since the very beginning. It calculates all 6 features: RSI, RVol, returns, ADX, OBV slope, Bollinger Bands. It loads the brain file, the train model from episode 5. The model looks at today's features and says buy or skip. If it says buy, we run a risk check, figure out how much to spend, and place the order through Alpaca. Then we confirm it went through, and we do it all again tomorrow. And honestly, that's the whole thing. 9 steps, and today we're building steps 1 through 5. The rest, risk and trading, that'll be in part 6B. So let's talk about the folder structure real quick before we start writing files. We already have our episode 5 folder with the brain.pkl sitting inside the model subfolder, and that stays exactly where it is. We're not going to touch it. What we're creating now is an episode 6 folder right next to it. This is going to contain 4 files: config, predictor, risk manager, and bot. And the reason I'm keeping episode 5 and 6 separate is actually important. Episode 5 is the training pipeline. It builds the model. Episode 6 is the deployment pipeline. It uses the model. You never want those mixing. Training can overwrite files, mess with data, all sorts of things. Deployment should just read what's already there, and let's set it up. So we are going to right click, new folder, name it episode 6. Inside, I'm going to create the 4 new files: config, predictor, risk manager, and bot. And we're going to fill them in one by one. So go ahead and follow along. All right, so filling in config first. And if you've been following along since episode 5, this is going to look a bit familiar. Same idea, one file, all the settings, everything else imports from here. The main difference this time is we've got live Alpaca connection settings and minimum confidence thresholds. Now, that threshold is important. It's basically us saying we only act if the model is at least 65% confident. And below that, we skip the trade entirely. You can tune this up or down depending on how aggressive you want the bot to be. And honestly, I'll probably really do some more videos on training XGBoost models and really getting that hyperparameter tuning correctly and understanding what the full output of your model in the terminal is going to look like and how that affects everything else. So taker is NVDA, same as before. You can change it if you want. Data period is going to be 3 months. That's enough history to calculate all our rolling window features without downloading too much. You can also change that, of course. And model path, and this is the one I want to point out, I'm going to be using os.path.join here instead of just writing the path as a string. And the reason for that is like a hard-coded path will work fine on my machine, but it might break on yours, depending on where you run the script from and everything. os.path.join will build the path relative to wherever this file lives, so it'll work anywhere. All right, let's now open predictor.py and dive into this. So this is the main one for today. 4 functions, and I'll walk through each one as we write it. The job of this file is simple. Take the trained model, give it today's data, get back a decision, and that's pretty much it. Everything else is just set up to make that happen cleanly. All right, so first function is going to be load model. Pretty straightforward. We use joblib to load the brain off the disk. But before we do that, we check if the file actually exists. Now, I know that sounds obvious, but trust me, if you skip this check and the brain is missing for God knows what reason, you'll get a confusing error halfway through the pipeline instead of a clear and concise message right at the start. Fail fast, fail loudly. It's much easier to debug whenever you include these what seems like simple statements, but trust me, they'll save your life. Second function is get live data. This is basically identical to what we've been doing since episode 2. yf.download, 3 months of daily candles, auto adjust for splits, and yes, the multi-index fix is still in there. If you remember the error we hit in episode 4, this is the line that prevents it. We're just making it standard practice now. So for the third function, build features, and this one I want to be like really clear about because I've done a lot of trial and error with this. These six features have to match exactly what we used when we trained the model in episode 5. I mean, down to the T exactly. Same formulas, same window sizes, same column names. If you change anything here and don't change it in episode 5's features.py as well, the model's predictions become meaningless. And that's because it's like testing someone on a subject that they never studied. So I'm copying this directly from our episode 5 features file. RSI, RVol, daily returns, all 6 features, same as before. Don't touch them. So RSI, price momentum, we've built this so many times now, it should kind of feel like second nature. RVol, relative volume, today's volume compared to the 20-day average, tells us if there's unusual activity in the stock. Daily return, simple percentage change from yesterday. ADX is the trend strength. This one's a bit more involved, but we cover it in episode 5. It measures how strong the trend is, not which direction. OBV slope is the money flow. Is money moving into the stock or out of it? And Bollinger Band %B, where is the price sitting within its normal range right now? It's 6 different angles on the same stock, and that's why this beats simple RSI thresholds. Last function, predict. This is where it all comes together. We grab the last row of our feature data frame, that's today. We pass it to predict proba, and I want to explain this because it's different from just calling predict. Predict gives you a hard 0 or 1, skip or by. Predict proba gives you the probability of each class. So instead of just by, you get, quote, 73% chance this is a buy, end quote. That probability is our confidence score, pretty much. And we only act if that confidence score is above our threshold. If the model's not sure, we don't trade. It's simple. All right, let's run it and see what happens. And there you go. Features built, model loaded, and there's our decision. It honestly is so exciting every time. And now, depending on when you're watching this, you'll get a different result than me, and that's expected. The model is looking at today's actual NVDA data, so the output changes every single day. But the pipeline works. The model is making a real decision on real data. And in part 6b, we take that decision and actually do something with it. So that is wrapping up part 6a. We've got config set up, predictor is working, and the model is making live predictions. In part 6b, we add the risk manager, which figures out how much to actually spend per trade so it doesn't risk your entire capital on one trade. And then we wire everything into bot.py, which is the file that runs the whole thing end to end. And that's also the part where we place an actual paper trade based entirely on the model's decision, zero human input. And as always, drop a comment with what your model predicted for NVIDIA today. I'm kind of curious to see if everyone's getting the same result or if it's different. Just let me know, depending on when you run it. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you on part B.